Melancholy is a bizarre thing. Been looking at all the people walking their dogs on this very early part of this walk around the park. I'm just completely lost this week. I don't know what day of the week it is. I just got a message from my ex saying drop our daughter off after school today, and it's just like, isn't it Wednesday today? Had a alteration in drugs that I'm taking recently, and I'm just really not with it. You know, on the things that matter, I'm completely in charge, but I feel delightfully detached. It's a good feeling. But I thought back to, must have been the summer of 84, 85, and I woke up inexplicably early one summer's morning, and I thought, right, Ginny, we're going out for a walk. Her being a, probably 6 or 7 year old Labrador. They care not for time, weather conditions, even though it was absolutely beautiful summer's morning. They hear the word lead and walkies and they're off. And I think it's just that it was so out of the ordinary, that little jaunt into the countryside. Just stood out like a thumb of why me in particular. And I think a lot of other people really relish the company of pets. They just don't give you any of the 8-hour rundown as to why they're going to need this amount of time to do something, which the excitement factor is completely destroyed if you have to wait more than a nanosecond. We're absolutely hopeless at exploiting the moment and living in the moment. And I was also thinking of my grandparents as I was growing up. Their dog Trixie. She used to come over, and her backyard in Canterbury was literally just that, a backyard, concrete, and it can't have been much of a life for her. She was well loved, don't get me wrong, but eventually both my grandparents died, and the countryside became her new home. And I have never seen an animal transform from a sort of state of quite sort of almost sober melancholy, no pun intended, to just being the happiest animal I've ever seen in my life. She used to do that hysterical thing in Fields of Corn where she would hop along like a lamb with her head and her tail periodically appearing above the top of the crop, and she was just in doggy heaven. You know, there's no getting away from it. She was just so happy, bless her heart. And you know, that state of just being that our pets have worked out. I've got warmth, I've got food, I've got love. Well, what else is there to worry about, you know? I can occasionally go out and catch a rat or a bird or something, you know, but what's the fucking problem? What's the big deal? It could so easily be a little bit more like that for us humans, but boy, we've made it unnecessarily complicated. There's something quite attractive. There's also something quite profoundly sad about just having no clue in any way, shape or form of what day it is. I think I'm just going through a time in my life where there's so much certainty that's wrapped around bureaucratic uncertainty, and you know, got to just sit back and deal with it. I think so often about how complicated we've made all of this existence. You know, if we're here for let's say 85, 90 years is a fair innings these days, yeah? I think we'll all agree on that. How do we manage to just acquiesce to subsistence living, misery, fights based on arbitrary differences between us and them? How have we managed to just fuck this up so royally? You know, I'm jealous. I'm genuinely jealous of those people who did manage to swallow the package that they were offered as a school kid and live it and succeed it, and have all the trinkets and the success it's perceived. I do have a certain amount of jealousy for those who fit in, but you know, maybe the fight is all part of it. Like I often quote with Only Fools and Horses, the whole way through the 18 or so year run up towards the last episode, Del Trotter had always said, this time next year we'll be millionaires. And then when he found his dream, he realised he had nothing to run for anymore, he had nothing to fight for. And you know, I can relate to that. There is a certain melancholy in my soul which sees these dark winter days and the ability to just hide away and switch the heater on as being of infinitely more attractive proportions than waking up on a hot summer's day. You know, we're confusing little bastards, we really are. And I'm not only confusing, I'm confused, you know. I think a lot of people, a lot of you guys relate to it. But yeah, I've just had a lot of thoughts recently about the meaning of time, the way that the world just seems to turn at a speed which really does mock the illusion of longevity that us arrogant little ants have over the amount of time we have here, considering how universally infinitesimal we are in the grand scheme of things, how we've managed to fuck this journey up so royally. How there's one person living in hunger, without a home, without a disease that's not being treated, in a country that's ignored, while others have billionaires surveying their own personal islands from their yacht. You know, I don't get it. For this world to really turn in any kind of just and fair way, it should turn equally for everybody. It's not to say there aren't aspects of the world that are governed by things like commerce and everything that shouldn't give us the get up and go to try and do better for ourselves within the system that exists, because that's all there is at this point in time. But the embarrassment of going past the same people on a day by day basis, if you've got any change while they shake, showing some very obvious withdrawal from either a drug or alcohol, and living in a world where nobody deals in cash anymore, essentially just being left behind even the little trinkets that people did used to give them. Can't remember the last time I had cash in my pocket. I can't remember, with knowing the whole disease factor, the last time I would have wanted cash in my pocket. We live in aggressively changing times. I think some of us, and you can probably tell by the tone of my voice, I'm just tired. I'm just really tired. I had someone say to me recently that you might get enough sleep, but that's a completely different situation compared to proper rest. And I think there's so many of us who understand the fact that we do sleep, but we just don't rest. And some days it just really gets to me. It really does get to me, and it's not a completely selfish sensation that it causes within me. I just feel sorry for the way we've corrupted this beautiful planet to such an extent that there are so many massive haves and obscenely high amounts of have-nots. Just a basic food situation, a roof over the head, running water, just somewhere dry, warm to live with food, you know. It's not too much to ask for. It should be a fucking human right. God bless.